Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing some Marincess test hands. So I'm really excited this, you guys, because this is actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Mimi. And this deck is an amazing water deck that involves link climbing into some really powerful monsters, like Marincess Great Bubble Reef, which is an amazing card, especially comboed with our crazy powerful field spell, Battle Ocean. So, without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron, along with test hands. And definitely give Mimi some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. This deck is a really amazing, consistent Cyvers deck, which you'd imagine would be more like a Sea Serpent deck or a Fish deck, maybe even Aqua, but they're actually all Cyvers, which is really interesting because it gives us access to cards like Signet Mining, which is a really powerful search card for this deck. If you open up cards like Blue Tang, you're basically going to go full combo in this deck, which is really, really nice. But if you open up Blue Tang plus an Extender, you're going to get some really, really crazy boards, which is really awesome for this deck. It's super fun to be able to play, and it's just a really good water deck overall to be able to make some really fun combos and go into some really powerful monsters that are our Marincess monsters, because there's a bunch of different Marincess link monsters that help us climb into some really good plays, and it's just an overall really fun deck. So you guys know that's dad rule number one: we got to pile shuffle the deck, because if you don't pile shuffle you can brick, so you've got to make sure that you pile shuffle. So let's go ahead and give the deck a quick shuffle and see what we can do, because this deck is really, really amazing and is just a overall great deck to be able to go ahead and play with, because it has some really fun combos in it. So we're going to go ahead and cut the deck really quick and see what we can do. So now that we got the deck cut, let's see what we can open up for our first test hand. So we're going to open up a Signet Mining. That's already really, really good, because that's going to get us to Blue Tang. A copy of World Legacy Succession, which is pretty much a monster reborn. Marincess Wave, that's a great counter trap for, or a great trap card for the deck. Not counter trap, but just a regular one for this deck. We draw into a copy of Ash Blossom, and finally a copy of Impermanence. This is a totally fine hand because we have plenty of negates in the hand, and we even have a Monster Reborn card in our hand. So we have some pretty good plays. We don't have any Marincess cards, but that's totally fine besides the copy of Wave, because we do have this Signet Mining that is going to get us some more plays. So we're going to go ahead and send a copy of our Ash Blossom to the graveyard, because you can send any card from your hand to the graveyard to activate this effect. It's totally up to you which one you send. I'm just going to send the copy of Ash Blossom to activate Signet Mining, which is going to grab from the deck a copy of Blue Tang, which is going to be our main play starter for the entire deck. So once we grab that copy of Blue Tang, we're going to go ahead and normal summon it to our side of the field and use its effect, because it's a Foolish Burial, to send any of our Marincess cards to the graveyard. We're going to send a copy of Seahorse, because we're going to grab it back with our copy of Blue Slug, which is very important for the deck to be able to grab it back. So we're then going to shuffle up the deck and see what else we can do. So we're going to go ahead and link away the copy of Blue Tang to the graveyard to be able to link summon into a really powerful link monster called Marincess Blue Slug. And Blue Slug and your copy of your Blue Tang will go off at the same time, which is what's really cool to be able to chain to one another. So you can do Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, where your copy of Blue Tang is basically a pot of duality that it lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and would grab a Marincess card, which is really good for the deck to be able to grab any Marincess card that you need, which is just really, really helpful for the deck. So you can use this effect, and then your copy of your Blue Slug will be able to target one of your Marincesses in the graveyard, which is going to be our Seahorse that we're going to grab back off the copy of the Blue Slug, so we can go into more plays. So we're going to go ahead and look at the top 3 of the deck, which is going to be a copy of the Silent Sea Nettles, a copy of Pascalius, and a copy of Infinite Impermanence. So we're going to grab that copy of Pascalius, and then we're going to go ahead and shuffle these cards back into the deck so we can go into some more plays. Now we're not going to be able to use that copy of Pascalius this turn, but we are going to be able to grab back the copy of the Seahorse to then be able to special summon it to our side of the field to then link it away for a copy of Sea Angel, which is going to grab us our field spell Battle Ocean, which is going to help us out a lot to be able to grab Battle Ocean from the deck so we can go in for some crazy powerful link monsters, and it's just a big help for the deck. So then we're going to shuffle up the deck and see what else we can do. We can go into some really good plays because we do have the copy of our World Legacy Succession, which is going to help us climb into some more Link monsters, which is why I really like to play the single copy of World Legacy Succession in the deck, because you can use its effect to be able to special summon a monster back to your side of the field, like a copy of your Blue Tang into defense position, to be able to Link climb into some other plays. So let's go ahead and link these two together to be able to link summon into a copy of Coral Anemone, which is a Monster Reborn card, which is really helpful. So we're going to go ahead and send that copy of World Legacy Succession to the graveyard, and our copy of Coral Anemone is going to set us up for all of our plays that we're going to need in this deck, because this card has the ability that you can target a water monster with 1500 or less attack in your graveyard and special summon it to a zone this card points to. Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except water monsters, which is not that big of a deal, because we do want to get cards back on our side of the field. But this card also sets us up for next turn, because if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, then you can target one Marincess card in the graveyard, except another copy of this card, and add it back to your hand, which is going to be able to grab our copy of Blue Tang back from the graveyard so we can go in for more plays. So this is very important to be able to link summon into at this point, and use your copy of Battle Ocean as well. So we're going to go ahead and activate that copy of Battle Ocean on our side of the field, which does increase our Marincess's attack points by 200 points, but it's also a really awesome field spell to grab off your copy of Sea Angel, because this card is just absolutely insane, because all Marincess monsters you control gain 200 attack, and also 600 additional attack points for each Marincess card equipped to them, which we'll get into in just a second. But monsters you control in the extra monster zone that were link summoned using Marincess Crystal Heart as a material are unaffected by our opponent's card effects, which makes whatever monster we summoned with this card unaffected, which is really good if we use Crystal Heart as a material. And when you link summon a Marincess monster in your extra monster zone, except during the damage step, you can equip up to 3 Marincess cards to that monster. So we're going to go ahead and use Coral Anemone's effect, which you could have used before you activated the copy of Battle Ocean if you wanted to. It's totally fine. And we're going to special summon back our copy of Blue Tang again to then be able to link summon these two monsters away for our copy of Crystal Heart, which is very important to go for the copy of Crystal Heart so we can get it with our copy of Battle Ocean's effect, which is just super helpful for the deck to be able to link summon into that card, because this card is going to be right here. We're going to have these two on the field, link them away for the copy of Crystal Heart, which is very important to be able to put on the field so we can get its effect off and get the maximum potential. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and link these two monsters away to the graveyard to summon out our copy of Bubble Reef to our side of the field, and both of the effects will go off between Coral Anemone and the copy of Bubble Reef. So this is going to be Chain Link 1, this is going to be Chain Link 2. So we're going to go ahead and equip it with 1, 2, leave the copy of Crystal Heart in the graveyard, and 3 right here to be able to just equip it with all 3 of these monsters to our copy of our Bubble Reef. And the effect of Coral Anemone will also go off and let us grab back from the graveyard our copy of Blue Tang back to our hand, which is really good for this hand, because now we have a setup for the next turn to make a copy of Bahamut Shark, totally awesome, which is really nice, and then climb into some more plays. Well, this card is unaffected by all their card effects and is gaining 600 for each one of these, which is 6, 12, 18 plus 200, going up by 2,000 additional attack points on the copy of our Bubble Reef, which is really helpful for this card to be able to go up by that amount of attack points, because now this card is sitting at 4,600 and it's unaffected by everything. This card is a great card to be able to go into because our boss monster also has a really good effect that you can once per turn during the standby phase. Each standby phase, you can banish a water monster from the graveyard or face it from the field to be able to draw a card. And each time a monster is banished face up, this card gains 600 attack for each card until the end of this turn. And you can send a water monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon a banished Marincess monster, which is really good to be able to just get one of your monsters back on your side of the field, which is just super helpful for this deck to be able to do. So if you go ahead and pass to the opponent, if they can't do anything about this card, we're just going to go ahead and pass back to us and draw for turn, which is a Torrential Tribute. And you also have both of these as negates in your hand because your copy of your Marincess Wave, or actually you could have set these before you even drew into the copy of Torrential, which is just really helpful, but you can actually hold the copy of Marincess Wave because this card can actually activate from the hand, because if you control a Marincess Link monster, then you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and negate its effects, which is pretty good until the end of the turn, but if you control a Link 3 or higher Marincess monster, you can activate this card from your hand, which is just really, really, really good to be able to do. And if you control a Link 2 or higher Marincess monster, all face-up monsters you currently control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of the turn, which this card is just absolutely crazy good for this deck. So we can activate this directly from the hand if we want to as a monster negate, and we can also flip this face up on our opponent's turn for the infinite impermanence, which is really good. And then if we go into the next turn, we will draw into that copy of Torrential, which is going to help us out a lot. And then during the standby phase, you can banish any of your Marincess cards that you want, like your copy of Seahorse, if you want to grab it back later, but it does have a banish effect of its own that you can banish this card from the graveyard to special summon a water monster from your hand to a zone a Marincess monster points to, which is pretty helpful to be able to do, but you don't really need to use that effect. You can boost this up by an additional 600 points, or you can get that effect. So we're going to go ahead and normal summon out the copy of the Pascalius, which is going to help us out a lot because its effect will let us normal or special summon another Marincess monster, or special summon out another Marincess monster from our hand, which is the Blue Tang, and then Blue Tang will dump another copy of Seahorse to the graveyard, and then you can basically go for the same combo that you went for before, where you're going to be able to bring it back with your copy of your Blue Slug, and then basically climb all over again into another Link 4, which is really, really awesome. So this is pretty much in our hand. We can just go ahead and put in a spell and trap card zone because we're going to set it later anyways. And at this point, you can go ahead and overlay both of these monsters way down here out of the way and make a copy of our Bahamut Shark, and then detach a material from it to be able to then use its ability to be able to special summon out a copy of Totally Awesome, which is really helpful and totally awesome to be able to summon to your field with this setup, because now you have a copy of Toad and you have a copy of Bahamut Shark that you have more plays with to have additional negates to protect your attacks and stuff like that, which is just really, really nice. You could have Link Climbed as well, which is another option for you guys if you want to Link Climb instead, to be able to then get the reveal 3 off your copy of your Blue Tang and be able to look at the top 3 cards, which would have been these 3, and you could have sent Seahorse to graveyard as well, which this would have just grabbed the copy of Ascaleus, which would have been fine, but this is a pretty good setup on its own. So let's go ahead and go to the next test hand and see what we can do with another one, because we actually didn't open up an extender with this one, but we still got that really good board because we opened up the Signet Mining, which is going to get us all those different plays from our copy of Blue Tang. This card is single-handedly the most important starter of the entire deck, and you really do need to get to it as quickly as possible, but it doesn't end the entire turn if you don't draw into it. You still have some really good plays as long as you draw into like a Pascalius and something you can special summon. You can still climb into some really good plays, but it does help out a lot to get to that Blue Tang so you can use its Foolish Burial effect to be able to go in for all those different combos. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for our next test hand. We're going to go ahead and draw into that copy of Blue Tang, which is already really, really good. Another copy of Blue Tang, a copy of Pascalius, a copy of Signet Mining, and a copy of the Tenyi Spirit. This is a really good hand that you can actually make a Nibiru proof board, which is really good. So we're going to go ahead and special summon out the copy of the Tenyi Spirit to our side of the field, which is pretty important for this lineup, and you can use the copy of Signet Mining to send one of your Blue Tangs to the graveyard to then search any monster that you want that's a Cyverse monster. So we're going to go ahead and search the deck for a copy of Mandarin, which is going to be helpful to be able to grab that card to our hand, because we're also going to use Seahorse later, and these are the only 4 that you really play in the deck right now. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck, and let's see what else we can do. So at this point, we're going to normal summon out the copy of Ascaleus, and then special summon out the copy of our Blue Tang, using Blue Tang's ability again to be able to send a copy of Seahorse to the graveyard so we can go in for more plays. Even if your opponent negates the effect of the Ascaleus, you can still Link Climb with it. You just won't get the copy of Blue Tang, but we already have set up in the graveyard a copy of Blue Tang, which is pretty good. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and overlay both of these monsters down here, way down here, to be able to summon out a copy of Bahamut Shark, which then we're going to we're going to be able to Exy summon a copy of our Totally Awesome using the effect of Bahamut Shark, which is really good because at this point we've normal summoned 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the toad is 5, which is really, really good. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and link away the copy of Blue Tang, and then kind of go for the same play where we go for Blue Slug, and then grab back from the graveyard our copy of Seahorse with the copy of Blue Slug, and use the copy of Blue Tang to be able to then reveal the top 3 of the deck, which we're going to go ahead and shuffle up, and use the effect of the Blue Tang to grab 3 cards off the top of the deck, and grab a Marincess card, which hopefully we get something like a copy of Wave or something like that, so we can go in for some really good play. So let's go ahead and see what we get. We're going to go ahead and look at the top 3, which is going to be a copy of Impermanence, Ash Blossom, and a copy of the Tenyi Spirit. We did not hit anything with that, so we got to shuffle them back into the deck. Sometimes that will happen, but it's totally okay. If you did hit the copy of Wave, it would have been a really crazy setup, but that's okay. So we're going to grab that copy of Seahorse, and then special summon it to our side of the field because we have the zone to summon it. And then we're going to go ahead and link it away for the copy of Sea Angel, which is going to help us out a lot to be able to go into that copy of Sea Angel, and then kind of do the same thing that we did before to be able to grab the copy of Battle Ocean, which is going to help us out a lot to be able to just grab that copy of Battle Ocean. But this time we have a Mandarin in our hand that can special summon itself to our side of the field, which is going to help us out a lot. We're going to go ahead and special summon or activate the copy of Battle Ocean way down here to be able to just get that card on the field. Then we can special summon out the copy of Mandarin by targeting the copy of Sea Angel, because this card has the ability that if you control 2 or more Marincess monsters while this card is in your hand or grave, then you can target 1 Water Link monster that you control and special summon this card to a zone that that monster points to, but banish this card when it leaves the field. So we're just going to special summon out the copy of Mandarin right here, which is totally fine. Then we're going to go ahead and get rid of these cards, which is going to link away the Mandarin, and this is going to go to the graveyard. And then we're going to summon out the copy of Coral Anemone, which is going to help us out a lot. We're going to use the effect of Coral Anemone to be able to bring out, actually from the graveyard, not from the deck. We're going to bring out from the graveyard a copy of Blue Tang, which is going to help us out a lot. Link these 2 monsters away together, which is the Blue Slug and the Blue Tang, to be able to go in for a copy of Crystal Heart, just like we did before, because it just requires 2 water monsters. And then link these 2 away on our side of the field for the copy of Bubble Reef, and then Coral Anemone will be able to grab back the copy of Blue Tang to the hand to be able to set us up all over again for our plays. And the copy of Bubble Reef will equip these monsters just like we did before. And now we have a Toad and a Bahamut Shark to back up the plays, which is really, really nice. I really like that setup because it's super easy to establish this board, to be able to just get that copy of Bubble Reef on the field with the copy of Battle Ocean, which is going to make it unaffected by everything. And it's going up by that additional 2,000 attack points because it's going up by 6, 12, 18, 2,000 up on this monster, which is really nice. And we have the copy of Crystal Heart to bring back with our Coral Anemone next turn to be able to go in. If we can make a link to, we could make a copy of our Coral Anemone, which I'm going to show you guys that play really quickly. We're going to go ahead and draw for our next turn, which is going to be a copy of Torrential, just like we did before. Normal summon out that copy of Blue Tang and use its ability again to send Seahorse. And we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck again. And once we're going to go ahead and do that, we're going to go ahead and link away the copy of the Blue Tang to make a copy of Blue Slug. And Blue Slug is if it's link summoned, then you can target a Marincess in the graveyard and add it back to your hand. So we're going to go ahead and add back to hand the copy of the Seahorse and use the effect of our Blue Tang to be able to look at the top 3, which hopefully we hit a Wave this time. It'd be really helpful to hit a copy of Wave at this point. So let's see if we can hit it. We're going to go ahead and look at the top 3. We're going to get Pascalius, a copy of the Tenyi Spirit, and a Torrential, but that's totally fine because we got the Pascalius, so we have more plays later on. Shuffle up the deck, and then special summon your copy of Seahorse from the hand. Link these 2 away on your side of the field into a copy of Coral Anemone. Use the Coral Anemone's ability, which has the ability that it lets you target a water monster with 1500 or less attack in the graveyard and special summon it to a zone this card points to, which we're actually going to target the Crystal Heart because it has 0 attack points and special summon it back. And then we're going to link these 2 away on our side of the field for a copy of Wonder Heart this time, which is going to help us out a lot to be able to grab that Wonder Heart and put it on our side of the field, because you can equip it with these 2 monsters and use the effect of your Anemone to be able to grab back the Blue Tang. And at that point, you pretty much have game probably at this point, because you have that really, really good board to be able to establish with all of these cards in the back row that are equipped, which is just really, really nice. I really like this board and it really helps out a lot. So I think that pretty much shows it for this test hand. Let's go ahead and do one more quick test hand and see what we can do for one more, because as you guys can see, This deck is very, very consistent in what it's trying to do, and is just a super fun deck overall to be able to play. You can summon Access Code if you want to. I really do like to summon that card in this deck if you don't lock yourself into water, but that's the main play that you're going to be rolling with when you play this deck, to be able to go into that Bubble Reef, which is just really, really nice. I wanted to show you guys that play because if they did wipe the copy of Bubble Reef, you can go into your copy of Wonderheart, put it up here, and then equip 3 to it again, which is really, really nice for your plays, and it helps out a lot to be able to go in for those plays. You can get a little bit more advantage if you want to than I did by banishing a card for the effect of Bubble Reef as well, which is a pretty good play to be able to draw a card. I didn't because I wanted to keep my copy of Seahorse in the graveyard because Seahorse can banish itself to get me a special summon to my side of the field. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what we can do for the next one. So we're going to go ahead and draw, and we're going to draw into a copy of Fury of Kyrushin, a copy of Blue Tang. We already have full combo, a copy of Asclepius. That's already really, really good. Ash Blossom and a copy of Blue Tang. Wow, that's a really good hand. Okay. Wow, that's a really good hand. So we're going to go ahead and use the copy of Fury of Kyrushin to be able to grab from our deck a copy of Torrential Tribute, while also protecting our monsters from the Torrential Tribute because of Fury of Kyrushin, which is really nice. I really like this card in this deck because these two together pretty much protect your entire board from being destroyed by cards like Lightning Storm or cards like our Regeki and stuff like that, because you can basically just use this to be able to protect it while also having Torrential to completely board wipe your opponent, to then go in for an OTK on the following turn. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and normal summon out the Asclepius and then special summon out the Blue Tang. Blue Tang's effect will go off to be able to send from our deck to the graveyard that copy of Seahorse all over again. And we're basically going to go for the exact same combo that we did before, which is going to be to link the copy of Asclepius away and then summon out to your side of the field a copy of your to be able to summon out a copy of your Blue Slug, and then Blue Slug's effect will go off, which will let us target the copy of Seahorse and grab it back to hand. You can then special summon the copy of Seahorse right here, link it away for another copy of our Sea Angel to then grab Battle Ocean from the deck to the hand. We're then going to use the effect of the Sea Angel to then grab that copy of Battle Ocean from deck to hand, which is going to set us up all over again, shuffle up the deck, and then activate the copy of Battle Ocean on our side of the field. We can then use the copy of the Blue Tang and the copy of Sea Angel to go in for a copy of our Coral Anemone, and then the effects will go off where you use the copy of Blue Tang to then shuffle up the deck, and then we're going to look at the top three. Hopefully we hit a copy of Wave this time, because Wave is just insane to hit off of the copy of our Blue Tang. It helps out a lot to be able to do that. We're going to go ahead and cut the deck and see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and look at the top three, which is Infinite Impermanent, Monster Reborn, and come on, can we do it? Nope, we hit a Feather Duster, but that's okay. We still have some really good plays. It doesn't come up all that often that we actually do get something off the copy of Blue Tang. It's kind of just chance, but that's fine. We're then going to use the copy of the Coral Anemone to bring back the copy of Blue Tang to our side of the field, link these cards away, and then we're going to go ahead and summon out the copy of Crystal Heart, and then link these two away on our side of the field to make the copy of Bubble Reef, which the copy of our Coral Anemone will go off and grab back from the graveyard our Pascalius, because we can go in for more plays on the following turn with the Pascalius and the Blue Tang, which is going to help us out a lot to be able to do that. And then we can go ahead and put these three monsters equipped to our copy of Bubble Reef all over again, and we have a board wipe and a negate in our hand, which is really nice because now we can set to our side of the field the Torrential, and we have the copy of Ash that we can discard against the opponent. So you have this in hand for next turn to normal and then special, and you have the effect of the Torrential to be able to negate a card, or not negate, but board wipe your opponent while also protecting your board if need be with the copy of Fury of Kyrushin later on in the duel, and you have the copy of Ash Blossom to be able to negate your opponent from touching the deck, which is actually really, really nice in this build. I really like it, and it helps out a lot. I really like this build, and it's super fun to be able to do. It's super consistent, and it's just really crazy because every single hand we basically summoned out the Bubble Reef to our side of the field and then established a really awesome field. Even in the first hand where we didn't draw into Blue Tang, we still had the field, which is just really, really good, and it's a really fun deck. Like, this deck is super fun to be able to play. It's really amazing. It's not crazy expensive to be able to pick up, which is what's really nice. And it's actually kind of easy to learn. Like, it's really fun to be able to go into, because basically you do Blue Tang and then link into Sea or Slug, send the copy of Seahorse off the Blue Tang, and then you link climb from there. Like, this is pretty much the bread and butter combo of the deck. Normal, send, link for Blue Slug, and then grab this back, and then link climb with whatever you have, which is what's really, really nice. So I think that pretty much establishes this one, guys, to show you guys how Marincess actually plays. I'm really excited to do this one, and it was a lot of fun. If you guys would like to check out the deck profile, as always, it is down in the description down below. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad. Definitely give me some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.